is a fake one. Obviously.
Oh, okay.
Hey, it's Allison Lee, and we're at AVN, and we are here with Brandy. How do you say your name?
Brandy Love.
Brandy is super cool. We already have one thing in common, which is the Midwest. So I'm going to ask her straight up Midwest advice about marriage and family, because she's been married for 23 years. 23 years.
And it keeps getting better.
Oh my, this is the best advice. Okay, so I want to know what I can tell couples how to keep their sex life alive, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think one of the things that first happens is they stop dating. I think couples forget how much fun it is to date, and just because you're living together doesn't mean you shouldn't shower, put on your makeup, look pretty, and that he shouldn't put on his cologne and still buy you flowers. And
that's huge.
23 years later, we still court each other, and when you use the restroom, close the fucking door. I mean,
I'm all for that.
Yeah, you gotta keep some boundaries. Men are men, women are women, and that's how you keep it sexy, by not sharing everything.
I totally agree. In fact, the advice I give is don't live with each other. Then it's really sexy. Because, you know, but you know, most people don't follow that advice. They want to live together. So how do you, so besides dating, is there anything else?
Respect.
Respect.
Without question, respect is always number one. Trust and honesty. Now, my husband and I happen to have an open relationship. We didn't for the first 6 years, and what we found was that it caused more problems because I think you're afraid of losing your mate, and you start getting, women especially, we get like, who are you talking to? Who's in your email? My husband traveled, so I became like a freak because my girlfriends would say, you trust him? My husband's really hot.
And you did trust him until
I did until he started putting shit in my ear. So we had the talk and met some interesting couples in the lifestyle and realized that monogamy isn't natural for most. Not that it's not for some. Some it can work beautifully, but I think in general, a lot of people, human nature is we just want to fuck. You want to have sex, and different people is always going to create a new spark and something different. But when you share that with your mate, and there's 100% trust, and you know they're coming home to you, and they love you with their heart, we are of one heart, but share our bodies, and it keeps our sex life smoking.
So I'm part of the swingers community and open. So I love the idea of non-monogamy, and like you said, sometimes it's good to be monogamous for some couples, but what would be like an example of what a couple could do to get into this? I mean, they could buy your book, or they could figure out on their own, like maybe they want to explore, how will they get into it?
Well, I think there's so much research online, like there's an insane amount, and couples have to explore. So once you've explored idea, talk to each other. You have to be willing to share. I'm not okay with you being with another guy, but we can have another girl. Whatever your things are, you have to be willing to share them. And if you guys can't get past that part, don't do it.
That's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to set down what you're comfortable with and then grow from there.
Do you ever write down your boundaries?
You know, we never wrote them down, but I was the more jealous than my husband. Once we decided no plan B, meaning you're never leaving me, I'm never leaving you. We're in this life together, and it's going to be a ride. Once we knew that, we kind of, all the barriers went down.
Did that talk happen after you got married?
We were married for 6 years before we ever got into the swinging, and it was after the birth of our child that our relationship kind of went stale. I became like the Midwestern mom with the, no, I'm not saying Midwesterners, but all women in general, but turtleneck. I was really concerned about my religious parents judging me.
Were you doing porn?
No, but I was a wild girl. I loved doing bikini contests and stuff like that. So I had the baby and was like, I'm supposed to not be like this. I'm supposed to be all proper, which is why I wrote the book, because I lost me.
Yes.
And it affected my husband. He's like, who's this bitch? I didn't marry this
conservative person.
Yeah, not sexually. I'm conservative, but not socially, not sexually. So
he was psyched when you decided to be open then.
Oh my God. It brought us back to college. I mean, it took
amazing.
And we're still going strong that way.
That's so hot. Thank you so much for giving that advice. And also, I want to read your book, but we should show people your book, yeah?
Oh, sure.
This is a good book to read.
This is Getting Wild Sex from Your Conservative Woman. And the idea is, honestly, I'm not a writer, I'm not a literary genius. I write like I speak, so it's more like we're hanging out in the family room talking. But it was my ride and talking to other women of what happens to us after children or after several years of marriage, why we change, and helping men understand how to bring us back. Because we need your help, guys.
Like for what? Like I know this is probably not the we don't have to go into everything, but how does one do that? How will a guy help get you there?
A lot of it again is communicating, sitting down and saying, what's happened? Do you not find me attractive anymore? Which is usually not the case. It's us. Women tend to, we hit this wall and we're like, we think we're supposed to be something that we're actually not, and our husbands prefer what we were. So it's balancing being a sexy, elegant, mature woman and a mom and a whatever else with being that sexual creature you were when you guys were dating or first married. And again, it's just tons of communicating.
Or you can go to a sex therapist to help you.
Obviously, sometimes an intermediary is what somebody needs, just to play kind of like the go-between until they're back to communicating properly. But it's never giving up. Neither party needs to give up.
That's amazing advice.
Well, thank you. Coming from you,
well,
I
thank you.
appreciate
I appreciate it. And is there anything else you want to give to the world, or anybody who wants any advice on sexuality, on masturbation, on anything?
It's probably going to sound very cliche, but I find sexuality to be like snowflakes. There are literally no two that are the same. So finding out what you like, who you like it with, just be you. Figure out who you are, what you like, and then find people that love you for that, and just follow that path, because nothing anybody else says doesn't matter. You got to be true to yourself.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. She's awesome. Okay, where can they find you then?
BrandyLove.com is my website, and then follow me on Twitter, Brandy_love, and and then pretty much anywhere on any of the porn sites, I'm probably there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
It's my pleasure.
Cool.
Appreciate it. All right.